You ever thought about becoming a teacher?
I have been a teacher for a while. This is one of my, since I was, actually it's interesting, I was going to law school, and I was always asking my mother for money to go out to parties and blah, blah, blah. One day I say, I've had enough of this. I want to get some independence. And I began teaching English at the time to people, and I began working for a language school at the time. I got my first paycheck. I was so excited. And since then, I got into a scenario. I opened my own business teaching language to adults.
How old were you then?
I was, when I started, I was probably like 19 or 18 years old. Yeah. And then it grew, and the company grew actually quite a bit. And then we began teaching companies and businesses in Colombia at the time. Because back then I was there in Bogota, and it was a whole range of amazing experiences teaching people English, but from a business perspective. And then I became certified. I took some courses in pedagogical, and pedagogy, so that I can, be an instructor. Then I became a university professor. So I've been a university professor since I was 23 or 24 years old. So I love education. One of the things that most people do not know about me is that I'm pretty much into educating. So if you look at everything that I do, is always not giving people or telling people what to do. I always try to tell people or teach people things that perhaps they don't understand it from a different perspective.
Did you know
using
that
education.
when you were 12, 13, 14 years old?
What?
That you could do these things?
When I was 12 years old, I was already, I already had ran for school president at the time. So I was.
Anzoni's over there producing. You hear that, Anzoni? So you already knew that.
Yes, sir.
One of the things we realize is sometimes people find that passion very early. When did you start recognizing it?
I'll share a story with you. I ran for school president when I was 9 years old. I was in New York, in Queens, in a mostly Jewish community. This was in around Main Street. Yeah, in Kew Gardens in New York. And it was amazing because we ran for that school presidency. But I was in a school of 1,200 students. I was a minority student, but I spoke the language. I didn't I understood how everything worked at the time. And I said, I'm going to run. But my best friend, he's a Jewish American kid. So
did you speak English and Spanish then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still have a very good friend who's a Jewish American with whom I grew up in New York. And we did the campaign with him. I remember we would
You were
go.
9.
Yeah. We would go through the hallways of the school in New York. This was PS 117, by the way.
And we're going to get on the campaign after this. But so you were 9.
Yeah.
So you realized it when you were 8 and 7 also.
Yeah, because, I was always the kid doing stuff. When I was in Cali, in Colombia, I was always the kid curious about, hey, let's do this, let's do that. I was always the one raising the hand to participate.
Tell me about your folks, how they helped ingrain that in you.
Well, my father, he's a Colombian attorney, but he's always been involved in leadership. On my mother's side, my grandfather was a lifetime leader for farmers in Colombia. He was very much involved in what used to be a very big political party, which was the Liberal Party, and he ran for office. He was involved in the mayoral administration in a small city in Colombia, in my state. So we have that vein of politics that comes from both my mother's side and my father's side.
So you actually didn't have any choice. It was
probably
already
not.
pre-decided.
It was probably already
before you were even around.
Correct.
Okay,
yes,
here we are. Here we are. We got to put all that stuff together.
That is
It's wonderful. So when you talked about campaigning when you're 9 years old in school, and then recently here with the community council. So what does the next 5 years look like for you?
Well, it's an interesting question because we have been approached by different individuals asking the same question, like, what is it that you want to do? And what I want to do in the next 2 years is definitely consolidate something that I saw when I came in, which was that the community councils, both the board members and the community councils, are the most underrated elected official position in this county and in the state. But because for some reason, like there's not enough value given to that position, and that pisses me off because you have very valuable people that work within these community councils. They spend a lot of money on campaigns, yet when events come for elected officials, we're not invited because we're like the third grade elected officials.
And that's a non-paid position.
Yeah, it's an unpaid position, yes. But still the commitment of these individuals is very high. So one of my commitments has been to raise the level of attention to the community council, especially in Area 11, understanding that we do represent the community. We are elected officials. We are contributing our time. So I remember that at some point there has been a discussion as to whether these positions should be only appointed or not elected. And of course, they have to be elected, but the county should also give more attention to these bodies, because you either do two things. You either incorporate these areas and then you create a city council, or if you're not going to incorporate it, then give life to these community councils that do serve a very important purpose, because I don't think commissioners want to be dealing with what we deal. And even though it does, some of these items go to appeal in some cases, but I do believe that that is something that I have like prioritized, because I think that we do very good work for the community and it has to be seen. So that's my priority for the next 2 years. But long term, in terms of like to answer your question, it's complicated because we have in 2 years we'll have the mayor's office coming. That race will come up, commission will come up, state rep will come up, and federal office will come up. So there are many offices that we can decide to run. My objective right now is to be focused on the community council.